And hello everyone, welcome back to another Bootstrap tutorial. So I have an image here. You can get any image you want. It doesn't really matter what image you have. I just have a random image here. And we're going to be using this image because we'll be working with images. Also, if you didn't see my previous tutorial on how to create tables in Bootstrap, I definitely recommend you do because you'll thank me later. So let's get started. Let's first bring the image into our website. So image source is equal to image.jpg, and there we go. And here we have the image. It's a little big, so I'm going to just say width is equal to 400. That should work. There we go. Okay, so here's our image. I'm just also going to give it a class of M3 just to give it a margin so we can see the sides. Cool. So this is a normal image. Now, the nice thing about Bootstrap is it has a lot of things out of the box just for working with images. So first we could just go rounded. And this will make the sides a little bit rounded. You might not have seen that change because it's not a lot. But if I were to remove that, and I were to just do this, then as you can see, it's no longer rounded. It's a very fine detail, but it does make a tiny bit of a difference depending on what website you're building. You can also go rounded circle. I never really find myself using this one, but you might have a use case for this where you need your image to be in the shape of a circle, but not a perfectly circular circle. You also have your image thumbnail, and this will add a little white border around it. So here we could just go style is equal to ground color and just make it black. And now we'll see it has a little white border around it. If I were to remove this, then the border is gone. But if I were to add this, then there is a border. So sometimes you want to have a border and this just works for it. The nice thing about what Bootstrap gives you is it allows you to immediately float content. Now, when you float something, you're basically making it so other content can be where it is, but it's floating to a specific side of the page. It's above everything else in a sense. To give you an example, if I go P here and just say lorem, then here I have some text. Now here I could say float start. The reason you might want something to float is if I were to just add another one of these images, and let's just also shrink it to maybe half its size. There we go. Let's just go like this. So now we have two of them. If we say float end, then one will float here and one will float here. Bootstrap allows us to immediately add floating to our images. And you'll notice the text starts here, right next to the image. So we could also go like this, and I will notice the text is right next to the image here, all of the text. And then if we go like this, the text starts right here next to the image. And that's what floating allows, and it's very powerful. Even today, I still use floating a lot, even if I'm not that into web design. And Bootstrap makes it easy to instantly float your images, which is always useful. Now, one thing people often complain about when they work with images is that it's difficult to center it. Even in CSS, sometimes people struggle centering content. Well, in Bootstrap, it's automatically there for you. You just go MX auto, which means margin on the x-axis, meaning from left to right, is automatically guessed. And you won't see anything if you save it. But then if you go D block, then it will be there. D block stands for display block. You don't really need to know what display block is just yet, but just know that D block allows you to kind of make something a full block of content. And last but not least, The thing I find the most important when working with images is to make it responsive. And it's something I had a lot of trouble with when I just did CSS, because making an image responsive is a massive pain in the butt. But Bootstrap automatically adds this feature for us. So here we could just say image fluid, and this will just increase it a bit. Let's remove this width constraint because we don't need it anymore. It will now automatically resize to the page size. If I were to remove this, then it will scale to a massive size. But if I added that, it will scale to the page size. So as you can see, the more my page increases and decreases, the more the image increases and decreases. And that's very powerful because sometimes images are just too big, and just using image fluid fixes that immediately. And that is the basics of working with images in Bootstrap. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all again in the next Bootstrap tutorial.